The VW ID4, Volkswagen's most important electric vehicle, mid-size EV SUV, now available as the GTX, supposed to build a bridge from the sporty GTI world to the sporty EV world with all-wheel drive called GTX. Here today on Autogefühl. I'm Thomas, and of course I want to find out how sporty is it really and how capable is it. Also comparing it to the recent platform siblings, the Audi Q4 e-tron and also the Skoda Enyaq. They share the very same platform. Another competitor would be the Ford Mustang Mach-E, of course also the Tesla Model Y. So fierce competitors here for the VW ID4, and as the GTX version it has a sporty appearance. Here in the lower area a new black mesh grille, so that looks quite fancy. Overall definitely a sport look, and that's why I also picked the red today. Again, for that bridge between GTI and the electric GTX. Light signature here. The strip goes all the way to the main headlamps. Beautifully done. And the matrix LED are included here in the GTX model. 4,58 meters or 180 inches is the length here of the ID4. And the GTX here, this version, all-wheel drive model, starts with 20-inch wheels. Optional these 21-inch wheels, the biggest one available. GTX batching right there. And special thing, whereas you would more have crossover cladding in the lower area, this one is here in the sporty version painted. So on the one hand, all-wheel drive and, you know, off-roadish X naming. On the other hand, sportier look and the projected range. We saw it also for the Enyaq and also for the Audi Q4 e-tron. It's the same right here with the bigger battery, 77 kilowatt hours net, approximately 400 kilometers of electric range and 250 miles. In the rear, typical hatch look, but I think a very clean design that works very well. And the GTX gets these special accentuations right here. Overall, I think this GTX look works very well. Since we have the all-wheel drive here, maximum horsepower output of about 300 horsepower. Acceleration figure 6.2 seconds to 1 kilometers or 62 miles an hour. But to 60 kilometers an hour, that's interesting. Just 3 seconds, because this instantaneous torque from the electric motor, so you're really quick, especially from the traffic light. We can also see a very cool tail lamp signature here, light strip all the way across the vehicle. And then at the sides here, this dot structure. Once again, really modern and playful. Here we are with the turning indicators, starting at the front. In the rear, you also have them in a cascading style. And recharging 11 kilowatt AC and 125 kilowatt DC. Well, that's not really DC leading, isn't it? And sadly, no frunk here whatsoever. Car key, kind of standard, like we know from the Golf. High gloss piano lacquer, yeah, we know better stuff, definitely. Integrated door handle, good for aerodynamics. And then underneath you have some kind of feedback. Opening the door is a little bit special than here on the inside for the GTX, or the all-wheel drive model here. Blue accentuations at the inside of the door, soft touch, and red contrast stitches. The upper part is also soft touch, so that's good build quality. The only thing I don't like are these handles here for the side mirrors, and because you have to look at it what you're doing, it's not that intuitive like the old school solution. Then the dashboard is also blue instead of black. That's also cool, and once again soft touch and with red contrast stitches, really nice. And you have the steering wheel with GTI style, just in GTX then, with a red accentuation, and these really small digital instruments connected to the steering column. Soon more details to that. Lower part, GTX entry badge, and then these special seats. Well, first of all, the seats which come as standard still have a separate head restraint, but are already quite sporty, but we know them from the normal ID4. They come with fabric on the inside. These here, these sport seats with integrated head restraint, they come with microfiber surface, really high quality, and they look awesome. Both will deliver you good comfort, so it just depends on if you want to go for these here extra. So seats always animal free. Steering wheel, they are still working on a solution that you can get it animal free and still also use the travel assist, which is then here activated at the steering wheel. Oh, and great joyful idea here, the brake and the throttle pedal with play and pause. When you sit down and press the brakes, the screens get active, and here you can see that the small screen moves along with the steering wheel, and it's really tiny. This is, for example, different than in the Audi Q4 e-tron, which has big virtual instruments. However, the reason that they kept this one here so simple, and indeed you can really not switch much right here, is the head-up display. It's an option, but they say, okay, now we have head-up display with augmented reality function, so we don't need big instruments anymore. That's their argument. And putting in the gears works like this: D, or press it once more for B. This is then higher recuperation while driving, or here then for reverse, and then you also have this rear view camera. Oh, and the music also pops on automatically. Thanks. Then the infotainment system, yeah, you have these sliders here for the temperature. That's again this capacitive curse. The same also for the volume. Hey, we now call it capacitive curse. Then you have some hotkeys, for example, to access the climate menu. Then you can still, change the temperature at least here. But I mean, if it's there or there, yeah, it's both. Shame. Yeah. So, and then let's check out the rest of the infotainment system. 12-inch is an option. Standard would be 10-inch. This is the bigger one. And they have meanwhile updated it a little bit, so it's a little bit faster, more responsive, and has less fails. And one more look at the cockpit overview. Styling-wise, really clean. That's cool. However, the Audi Q4 e-tron is a little bit more exclusive and higher in the build quality. And also the Skoda Enyaq, for example, I think it's just a little bit fancier, especially in the interior. And my biggest criticism point here is definitely this piano lacquer use also at the dashboard. Yeah, that should come a little bit classier. Or what's your take on that? Seating position is upright, not too high though. I just recently drove the Audi Q4 e-tron. That one offers more like a higher SUV driving position. This one rather in a crossover style. In this view you can very well see the contrast between the blue and the black here. By the way, here this is then hardpack at the rear doors, and getting inside is really easy. And there's a very good seating position here in the rear, so a lot of legroom left here. One means A6 and 6 with 1 headroom. It's close actually, yeah, but still works for tall adults. But it's really comfortable here, and you have a lot of room and comfort. Once again here due to the lacking middle tunnel, so great view through the panoramic roof. Trunk area is 540 liters up to 1,575 liters, or 19 cubic feet as we see it right now, up to 56 cubic feet. And the width, about 1 meter or 40 inches. And then you can also fold down the seats, and this is then the maximum setup. How sporty is the acceleration? Let's find out. Let's go! Woo, that's 100 kilometers an hour or 62 miles an hour. Yeah, really quick, great boost, especially in this really low speed area, like this 0 to 60 kilometers an hour. That is really impressive, and especially like on the first few seconds, you can almost beat any other petrol sports car with that. That's pretty cool. Then it gets a little bit slower bit by bit. So still rear-wheel biased, more power from the rear electric motor, a little bit less from the front one. The front one is not that powerful, and also the rear one is more efficient. And that's also the reason why they predominantly use the rear one. The front one then for these boost spikes, especially for these then, it doesn't run that often. So it really varies, but actually a good idea to do that, and you can still keep the rear-wheel bias with that. However, if you go for the rear-wheel drive only version, the only sporty advantage you have is that when you get out of the corners, you just have rear-wheel drive and the rear comes around a little bit better. Here you are of course also pulled from the front, so from a purist feeling, then the rear-wheel drive is better. But here, of course, you always have more punch and you are just quicker in any situation. Really depends on what's then more important to you. And of course, also if you want to afford the extra price for that. In general, the steering is really great, very precise. That accounts for all the siblings here. Yeah, maybe the Skoda from the setup a little bit softer. The VW and the Audi a little bit crisper, but really good, so there's no dead zone area and you have a very good feeling for the vehicle. Battery placed in the center of the vehicle as well, low center of gravity, so I mean it doesn't look that sporty on the outside, but still you have great sporty driving fun. Here in the sports mode, the suspension is also quite stiff. I mean, there's some bumps in the road and I really feel them. So this is in the DCC, and then you have a astonishingly sporty setup here. So let's see how that changes when I go to the comfort mode. Then I immediately feel it gets softer. I'm not sure if you can even pick that up on camera, but you could really hear that it was louder from the bumps in the sports mode, and now in the comfort mode, these bumps are evened out even better. So yeah, it was maybe even a little bit annoying. So I would stay in a comfort mode here, and you can switch the sport mode then when you have a more even road. But that's of course the cool thing. You have that flexibility with the adaptive suspension. In the sports mode then on very plain roads, you can have a lot of fun. And then of course in the comfort mode when it's a little bit bumpier. But what a beautiful road here, rapeseed field here left next to us, some of the trees going straight and straight. This looks really cool. German countryside here, and we are at the moment quite in the middle of Germany, by the way. Head-up display, very well to read, and also when I'm getting towards the side of the road, sometimes it's showing me like some arrows that I'm supposed to keep it in the lane. It's also interesting. When I'm going slalom here at 70 kilometers an hour, again, bumpy road, but that's great to test. Still, the car is remaining very stable, good to control. There's no flexing of the chassis whatsoever, so this platform is really superb. And felt it with the Q4 e-tron and also the Skoda Enyaq. The Enyaq, the least sporty one from the feeling of these three siblings. Then this one here, and the Audi definitely feels sportier. As for the, stop, and here we go. Yes. Woo. Another 0 to 100 acceleration, because I want to get in before the other cars hit us there. And that was also very well done. Have you seen? I mean, I was starting full throttle in a corner. That speaks for the vehicle, how everything is controlled. There was no understeering, although I had full power on the front axle. Steering was great. There wasn't any traction loss, nothing. Absolutely flawless. And once again, that shows that electric all-wheel drive is just superior. There's no mechanical link whatsoever, front axle to rear axle. Everything is electronically controlled, and that's the reason why you can also fine-tune it that way. So really very well done, both hardware, chassis-wise, and also software-wise, what they have done with that vehicle. And I think, why not use this new GTX tag for that? I think it brings a little bit more playfulness to the vehicle. So definitely tune also into the Skoda Enyaq review, and also the Q4 e-tron, the Audi Q4 e-tron review, or also the Ford Mustang Mach-E. We also have this video here linked, or also you will always find links in the video description or the pinned comment. Looking really forward for your comments, and of course see you at our next video right there.